Hi, I'm David, and today we're going to talk about Ant-Man. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Oops, wrong show. Ant-Man. Ant-Man was a very interesting movie, even though it was very kid-friendly. It was a pretty cute show, if you will, or cute film. So the film starts out with Scott Langley being in prison for stealing. And of course, there was a very elaborate scheme for him to come into possession of this suit from a scientist called Dr. Pym, and it was extremely elaborate. Now, how this suit supposedly worked once it was successfully stolen, even though he was allowed to steal it, and then the police were called on him and then he was in trouble. So the way that it was explained in the film was that mass would remain the same, but the space between atoms would be reduced, utilizing something they called the Pym particle. This can't really be a thing so much in the real world, and let's think about why. We'll take a p orbital electron system, for example, and in this, you can see that there is a boundary around this that I've drawn, definitely not to scale. When you push anything too close, it's going to resist. The electrons on the outer edge, even though they are matched up, is still going to be a force that pushes away. And of course, you've got various other factors at play. And if you were to put things too close together, you might end up with them just breaking apart altogether, where different parts or particles within the atom can shoot off in various directions temporarily, and then before they reform or do whatever they're going to do. Let's dissect a proton. For example, we have two up quarks and one down quark. And this system is held together by gluons. The electrons around that are held by the strong force so that the orbit does not decay around the proton. When you take a look at this system, if you were to smush things too closely together, you have very strong resisting forces. Things are going to end up breaking. It's kind of like taking two cars and throwing them at each other at too high of a speed. Things just go flying off. But the difference is that the parts of the car here can be repurposed. It's just a natural state of the universe. So it's pretty much unnecessary to say, but shrinking the space between atoms isn't really going to accomplish much other than probably superheating or fusing you into a new form of elements. It's going to be a bad day, a little ugly. That aside, still a very interesting concept and an interesting film. There were a few other pain points that I saw here that were interesting, and as long as you suspend your disbelief, they're pretty cool, but they can't really work in the real world. Let's take a look at water. Water is pretty sticky at smaller scales. If you take your hand into a bowl of water and you slowly pull it up, you'll find the meniscus follows your hand up, and after a while it finally separates, but there's still water on you. So imagine what that does to something like an ant. Well, when it comes on the scales of ants and other insects, they cannot deal with water. That's why water bugs have the extra leg hairs to be able to stay on top of the water, because if they fall in, they're done for. It sticks on their mouth, their face, they can't get any oxygen into their system, they can't really do anything. They're done, it's game over. And there's really no way for them to escape it either, regardless of how strong they are, just because the force of water, or how sticky it is overpowering to their system, to their body. So when they were traveling through the pipes on an ant boat, I don't think it would have ended the way they wanted it to end. But it was a very interesting concept and pretty cool. Now, if we think about the telepathic link between the ants and Dr. Pym and later Scott, it was kind of interesting. I think maybe the concept was taken from the idea of the queen ant communicating with the hive, although that's mainly done through pheromones. Their tendencies probably need not apply. But anyways, it was an interesting idea. Later, Scott went into the quantum realm, or went subatomic in the film, to save his daughter and her stepfather. While there, we saw a very interesting kaleidoscope of colors and various things that were very trippy and interesting. And while it was a very pleasing and aesthetically interesting set of environments, I don't really think shrinking yourself down subatomic is going to land you in another universe, which in the Marvel universe is a thing. It used to be called the microverse, but the trademark for that term was scooped up by another company. So they can't really use it anymore, and therefore the quantum realm was given birth as per that name. According to what I've looked into, in the Marvel comics throughout the years, many heroes and villains have been born, lived, and died inside of the quantum realm. There are stories of cities and cultures and civilizations that have resided there. And to my knowledge, I think there are even some stories about the Fantastic Four going into the quantum realm. Although it's not really feasible to be able to shrink the space between atoms without causing a complete collapse of the system that you are trying to utilize, it's still a very interesting concept in general. Thinking about them shrinking the vehicles in the other films and doing everything else that they did, such as shrinking the lab in the second film, it was all very cool stuff. Now, when we're watching our films, we should just suspend our disbelief and just enjoy it, be entertained by it. Although, sometimes, we gotta break it down and get a little crazy. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them down below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe over there, check out new videos over here, and we'll see you next time.